Hello everyone, I feel like it has been an absolute hot minute since I have jumped on and filmed something, but here I am. We have just started our Reboot challenge here at 23W, and I'm going to be joining in the challenge as well as being a team captain, go Team Ange, to be setting myself some goals over this next 8-week period. And I'm going to be jumping on each week and sharing with you a weekly vlog of how I am going and how I am progressing. So first of all, this video is just about setting the scenes of what I'm going to be working towards and the systems and habits that I'm going to be following to get there. This challenge is called our Reboot challenge, and it is all about sustainable habit change. So when we talk about habit change, we are talking about those long-term things that you can be keeping up in the long run to be able to sustain the results that you get. Quite often when people start either a weight loss journey, they implement a bunch of things that might be quite restrictive, and it's that all out or nothing kind of approach. Now that definitely works to some degree, but you find that at the end there is a certain degree of rebound. What we're doing here is we're setting in course, it's the start of the year, we're setting in motion just a bit of a reboot of all the things that actually contribute to you feeling really good in yourself, feeling really empowered, and feeling well, but also being able to see changes in your body composition as well. So we do have our Reboot challenge journal, which I've put on my bedside table. And each week we go through a weekly focus area of some really keystone habits that actually help and contribute towards your success. So this week, our focus area is on sleep. Now, before jumping to my goals, let me chat to you about how I'm progressing with my week 1 focus area. Terribly. And I've got to say, girls, it's not because I'm a new mum. I do have a 9-week-old. It's not her, it's me, all right? And I'm fully owning that. I'm staying up way too late on my laptop just to get work done, struggling to find enough time in the day just to grind it out. And hey, that's the reality of a business owner who is on maternity leave. But I am aiming to improve on that, aiming to get my ass to bed a little bit earlier and to tune down. So while Monday, Tuesday night weren't great, yesterday was a huge improvement through the self-reflection process that I implemented. So I'll touch base with you next week and let you know how that one's going, but it is a big focus because, hey, I am back at work next week and aiming to get up at 6 a.m. Little scared about that. I'm going to have to start getting myself sorted into a better sleep routine, and no one's going to change that except for me. Let me chat to you about the goals I have for this challenge. So I have done a few of our challenges before, and I actually feel like I'm in a much better headspace, second baby around, to be really going for it this time. I am hell keen to be seeing some great changes in my body composition. So I'm aiming for a 3 to 4% drop in body weight, which should see me losing somewhere around 3 to 4 kilograms on the scale, and hopefully retaining as much muscle mass in that time as possible. The second goal is to fit into my favorite jeans, which if I see that drop in body weight, I should be able to easily get back into them and feel more like myself. And then the third goal is a performance goal. And I love setting performance goals because it keeps me so much more motivated in the gym, and it gives me something to focus in on every single training session to be progressing on. And that one goal is to perform a muscle up. Now, if you don't know what a muscle up is, it's kind of crazy. It's about doing a full chin up either above a ring or a set of bars. A set of rings or a bar, and then being able to maneuver yourself to be then up on top. It's quite an explosive, powerful move. It definitely touches in that realm of gymnastics, and it requires a huge degree of skill and also strength. Now, I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to go towards this one, but I'm going to give it a good nudge, and each week I'm going to be sharing with you how I'm progressing. So let me start by sharing with you the systems I'm going to be following to see that weight loss occurring. Now, when it comes to losing weight, there's sort of 2 things you can do, but you need to be changing your nutrition. You cannot out-train a bad diet. You cannot be there training around the clock and not be changing what you're doing with your nutrition. Because at the end of the day, you're dieting off the body fat. You've got to be in an energy deficit to see weight loss occurring. And if you're not seeing weight loss occurring, you're just possibly not in an energy deficit. It's just that simple. So the two things you could do is you could look to change habits, which is things like changing your portion sizes, being more mindful about snacking, bringing your awareness to the things that you're doing, decreasing alcohol intake. It really is about looking to save about 300 to 500 calories per day in comparison to what you were doing when you're at maintenance. So you don't need to track at all doing that. You could just literally tighten up a few things and you'll find that you'll put yourself in an energy deficit, and then just by being consistent, the weight will go down. And that's what I did last year. I saw some amazing changes in my body composition just by making some simple changes to my diet without tracking a thing. The next thing you could do is you could track and measure. You could track and measure your calories and your macros. We call this flexible dieting. Now, some people are anti-tracking calories because it might be triggering for them. It might make them more obsessive over the foods that they eat. And they really start to stress out about the numbers. The flip side of that is that it could actually create a tremendous amount of food freedom. And this is the camp that I sit in. I actually find by tracking the food, having targets, which my targets are 1,800 calories, which is, it's a really decent amount of food, around 140 grams of protein, about 140 grams of carbs, and around 70 grams of fats. Now, for me, it gives me food freedom. It actually stops me from obsessing about food. It stops me from going down the path of a restrictive mindset. And I can actually enjoy a whole bunch of food in my day that I really love and enjoy without going, oh, I had some chocolate, I shouldn't have had the chocolate, I'll cut back on this and da-da-da-da. I can still have the odd wine, the piece of chocolate every day, the foods that really make me feel great, as well as the really great choices that I make on a daily basis, as well as changing habits when it comes to food by getting enough protein in meals. All of that other stuff, it really brings me into a more mindful place to eat because it's all planned out. I don't need to think about what I'm eating. And also, I don't fall into the trap, which can happen as a mum or someone that's busy, someone that's very active, is skipping meals and under eating on certain days and then blowing out on next days because you just feel so drained and low, which is definitely a place that I sometimes find myself in. If I start to restrict too much with the food, I pay for it in the next few days and then I don't see results. And for me, actually eating foods and eating the right balance of foods actually helps me lean out. So I want to stress it's about trusting the process, whichever system you're following, trusting the process that if you are working hard and you are following and tracking whatever it is that you're doing and you're keeping yourself accountable, you're going to get results. The second you start to second guess it or drift away or be unmindful, that's when you start to move away from actually seeing the results you want. And I can't stress enough that in the first month in January when I was making these changes, I actually didn't see that much change on the scales. I saw some amazing changes, however, in the other evidence I was taking. So I was able to fit into my clothes better. I was able to put on one of my denim skirts that actually did up. Hey, that's a win. Tick. The scale weight did not change. I took body composition photos. I could see the changes in inflammation and body fat coming off. The scale weight did not change. I was making progress. Tick. So please, girls, don't just look for one piece of evidence for change. Don't just look at the scale weight. Look for lots of areas where you might be making changes and then be really honest with yourself of the things that you're not currently doing that you could do better. For me, sleep is it. Sleep is it. Because I know if I'm sleeping well, I'm going to be making sure I'm sticking to my food. I'm not going to be overindulging other things. I'm not going to be reaching out for more coffee. I'm not going to be skipping workouts. All of those things. So the thing that I want to stress about if you are just learning how to track and follow flexible dieting is the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're hitting your target calorie target. So what I mean by that is making sure that you're able to learn how to track the food properly, measure the food properly, and be under or hitting your calorie target. And I got to say, girls, that quite often we underestimate the quantities. And if you compare, say, a serving size on the packet versus what you actually dish out, I guarantee it's always more. So pull out the kitchen scales and actually measure and see what is a tablespoon, because a tablespoon actually looks a lot like a teaspoon when you put it on the plate. I don't know what happens there, but be honest and track it properly. Learn how to track your calories properly. Learn how to input the data. That's the first thing. So learn how to actually hit your calorie target. The second thing is aim to hit your protein target. And your protein targets are the second most important thing when it comes to flexible dieting, because protein will help you resynthesize your muscles and recover. When you're in training, you're breaking down the muscle tissue, and every time you ingest protein, it helps to turn on muscle resynthesis. So you've got to be making sure that you're having protein feeds throughout the day to be turning on that muscle resynthesis, to be restoring and to be recovering well. Protein is also good because it helps keep you satiated and maybe less likely to be snacking or grazing or looking for higher calorie density foods. And a protein also has a higher thermic effect, which means your body burns more calories just by having protein in your diet. So protein is amazing. Hit your protein targets next. The third thing is, where is the rest of your calories coming in from? Is it more from carbs or is it more from fats? Now, at the moment, if you look at my data, I got to say I'm not hitting my fat target that I set for myself. So it could be that I maybe up my carb target and lower my fat target. So it's a bit more realistic to what I'm actually eating. And because it doesn't really matter like where those other calories come from. It's not so much of a big deal, providing that you're feeling well. However, with fats, I may need to increase the amount of fats that I am eating in a day, my good fats, because fats are really important for healthy hormone maintenance. So I don't want to be going too under on fats just because I naturally eat quite a lean diet, that I want to be making sure I'm still getting enough essential fats in. But I'm going to see how that goes over the coming weeks and adjust it from there. But don't stress if you're not necessarily hitting your carb or fat ratio. You can always change that to suit what you are doing and what you naturally want to eat, and make a few changes here or there if it's not actually serving you. So first of all, hit your calories. Second of all, hit your proteins. Third, see where your carbs and fats are coming from and see how realistic those targets are. But whatever system you're following, make sure you're pre-planning your food. I cannot stress that enough. Find a system that works. So if you're short on time, look for really easy things for you to meal prep. Buy things that are already pre-prepared. Make life simple for yourself so you're setting yourself up for success. Third goal is my muscle up. So every week I am trying to make progression on that. The first thing I'm going to be tackling is my strength, and I'm really trying to get my strength up on my chin-ups. So I did 1 chin-up last week. This week it's going to be 2. Next week it's going to be 3. I'm just going to try and keep linking my strength in that pulling motion, as well as rebuilding my core strength. I've had a baby, so I'm really working on my hollow dish holds, that position that I need to be in to get that muscle up occurring. And then in the coming weeks, I'm going to be working with our amazing coach, Haley, who's going to help me link some transitions and some more kipping-like movements to actually get the movement patterns of that muscle up. So stay tuned for that. I know it's ambitious, but I'm pretty excited by it. And if it doesn't excite you, then you're doing something wrong. Hey girls, I think that's about all I wanted to chat about today. That is my week 1 report. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. I really want to hear how you're going with the challenge as well. So make sure you're checking in weekly. If you're not a 23W member, reach out to us. We'd love to say hey.